Hi, Jim Doyle here for Fire in the Hole Distributors. Distributors of Polestar pulse plugs and Polestar direct hits, which are your ignition spark multipliers. The direct hits, we have the S100s and the S80s, depending on if you have a very compact or confined space. We'll use the S80 instead of the S100. What we're going to do today is show you the proper installation for the direct hit set that you'll be getting in the mail. In the mail, you're going to get essentially a non-resistor spark plug, usually an S100, and a new cap. The reason why I send a new cap with the S100 is because the tower on the S100 is a little shorter than on a standard spark plug, and these caps fit them well. So what we'll do is we'll start from scratch. Let's assume to start with that this is your existing spark plug wire and cap. What we want to do is remove the existing spark plug cap. So slide the little rubber boot down onto the wire, unscrew the cap from the wire, pull off the old cap. Inside, you'll have basically the same thing. It's in 3 pieces. So what we're going to do is we're going to slide the new boot on the wire. It helps if you have just a little dot of dish soap or something on there to help it out, or you can spray it with liquid silicone. In this particular instance, I used a little bit of dish soap, and it'll slide right on. Go ahead and thread the new spark plug cap onto the wire, and it just screws in like so. Once it gets tight, that's it. And take the boot back down over like so. And this is the rubber end, which keeps out the dirt and grime and everything else. It just pops right on the end. Okay, this part is done. Now, you're going to get a non-resistor spark plug. It has to be a non-resistor spark plug because the direct hits will not fire properly through a regular spark plug. Regular spark plugs have a 5K ohm resistor on the inside. Now, again, what the direct hits are, basically there's a peaking capacitor on the inside. When the coil fires, there's always a couple milliseconds before it actually bridges the gap onto and fires the plug. So, when it does fire, the capacitor dumps its charge with the regular spark, multiplying the spark, making a very big spark. So, this is a brand new non-resistor spark plug. What you always want to do, what I always do, always check the gap. Gap it to whatever the manufacturer says that it's supposed to be gapped to. In this particular instance, it's supposed to be 24 thousandths. And, of course, I already did it before we started, so it's 24 thousandths. Another thing I like to do too, first of all, we're going to do this properly. I personally like to use an anti-seize on there because we have a steel spark plug, we have an aluminum head. After a while, they don't play well so well. So just put a little anti-seize on the threads. Try to keep it off the working end of the spark plug there. Okay. Here I have one of the old heads off one of my old paramotors. And so we're going to take the spark plug. We're going to start it just by fingers to where it gets snug. And this piece of equipment is critical. It's a torque wrench. Always use a torque wrench when you're torquing spark plugs, especially into aluminum heads. Never torque a spark plug into a hot head. That's a bad idea. The torque range on this particular 10 millimeter plug is supposed to be 10 to 15 Newton meters, or around 85 inch-pounds. Don't get a torque wrench that has foot-pounds, it's inch-pounds. If you're using the anti-seize on there, always go to the lower end. You want about 2/3 of the max torque. So in this case, I have it set to 10 Newton meters. And so we put it in there and make sure it is done to where we just get our click. And that's it. Don't go any further. I've already taken the nut off the top, the direct hit screw onto the top. Another thing I like to do take some Loctite. This happens to be in the Loctite in the stick. It's the blue. And whether you're doing the top of a spark plug with the nut or where the direct hit goes on, you want to put a little bit of the blue Loctite onto the top of the plug threads. Now, very important when you go to thread the direct hits on. Make sure it's centered, tighten it, don't use any tools to snug it down. Hand tighten only, that's sufficient, and the Loctite will hold it in place. Now, our previously assembled new cap on the old wire, and it snaps right on top. That's the full assembly for that. Now, if you're using a direct hit and a shielded cap, okay, we can eliminate the ground wire, and here's how. If I know that you're going to be ordering this in a set, or that you're going to be using this shielded cap and the direct hit later, what I will send you is the direct hit that has some of the paint removed, and you can see a little bare stripe going around the direct hit. The reason to remove the paint is this: when the shielded cap goes onto the direct hit, the metal of the shielded cap gets on the bare metal of the direct hit and basically grounds the RFI, because this screws to here and this is grounded to the head. So let me show you here in real time. Screw the direct hit on, there again, hand tighten only. This goes down like so. It's my trusty little fluke meter here, continuity tester. So basically, now the head is grounded to the shielding. We no longer need, or would have any use for, the ground wire. So in the previous video where we installed the ground wire, you don't need it. Everything grounds from one to the next, to the next, to the engine. And that's all there is to installing a direct hit, and the proper installation of a spark plug to boot. This is Jim Doyle, Fire in the Hole Distributors. If I can be of help, the address is at the bottom of the video. Have a good day. Thank you.